It's that filler time. Alright, so just gonna give a brief discussion review of this particular episode. As you know, it's filler. If you don't know, this didn't happen in the manga. There is nobody, to my knowledge, in the manga that has the petal fruit, or the pet fruit. And in this episode, for the most part, we got a lot of advancement, and it's kind of funny that in the actual, canon stuff, we get very slow progression and everything, but you go to filler and things move so smoothly, even though it's not from the manga or anything like that. And I just find that kind of a bit funny that, the actual important stuff gets that slow pacing. But I understand it, of course, everything, but it is just like, wow. So we got the main threat, the villain, we got the return of the Alabasta Dugongs, the ones that fight and whatnot, the fighting Dugong, and we also got to see a little bit of Luffy and Law teaming up and everything. The animation, it was weird because it was kind of looking good in certain parts, but then at certain parts the character designs were a bit off and everything, so I was just a little confused as to, like, it looks really good in some parts, and then at some parts it's like they're off model or whatever, but I guess it's filler, so I don't expect them to have beautiful animation for filler regardless. Now, as far as the threat of Breed, he really just comes across as one of those early One Piece villains where he wasn't all that menacing looking, and he just kind of came off as a goofball that really had some, bad plans in mind. So, if anything, this episode, the beginning of this filler, it really gave me that early One Piece feel, and I love that whenever I can get that, because One Piece has changed quite a bit as far as the way it feels now. It's no longer just that, oh, shit happens while they're on the ship and, it's a quick little mission or whatever. A lot of things now is just these long arcs or whatever. So getting into something like this, while it's not something that I don't think anybody preferably wants, just some random filler story, and it's not the most threatening and it's not the most interesting thing out there or whatever, it was just really relaxing. And obviously Luffy and the crew are going to beat the dog shit out of Breed and get free of him eventually, and his pet fruit where he's controlling the pet Dugong, which, by the way, respect to them for making it into New World. Like, some fucking pet Dugong, some fighting Dugongs made it through to New World, so respect in that aspect. And as far as Breed's power, it seems like it could be really, really hacks, but at the same time, I'm sure there's some sort of weakness to it, as far as, like, him being able to control any living being. There has to be something to it, because in essence, in theory anyway, it just sounds really hacked. Like, he could control Luffy, Law, the pet Dugong, he could control anything, so there has to be some sort of weakness to it as well, or some sort of default. Maybe he can only control a certain amount or something, or maybe he can only spit out a certain amount of those green, boogery looking rings or something like that. As a whole, the episode, again, it actually had quite a bit of good pacing, and it just seemed like it flowed very well, and it was just an enjoyable episode. Definitely not the most thing to take serious, or it wasn't anything like, oh my god, epic, or anything like that. So it wasn't like, and at the end of the day, it is filler, so it wasn't like, oh my god, I love this. It was just really a chill episode. If you want a filler, then definitely, go watch it if you wanted to see some stuff that you haven't read yet. I guess that was another good treat about it for us manga readers going into this, is like, we don't know what's gonna happen, so it's like, oh, whatever, happens is fine. So I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. It was a fine episode for a little filler. It was funny, nothing extravagant or anything like that, and the animation was pretty cool, but it did look wonky at times. Like, Luffy's face did look off model, and Law's face looked kind of off model at times as well. So it's a little bit of a funny ride, so to speak, with this episode. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy this first episode of the filler? Do you think that Breed's power could potentially be hacks if, they don't have some sort of weakness to it? And also, how do you think Luffy and Law are going to team up? I'd imagine there's going to be, at the end of this filler, some sort of really awesome team up between Law and Luffy with, like, one combination move to knock Breed out, or maybe there's another person even behind Breed that's helping Breed to do what he's doing. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for them fighting Dugongs to making it to New World, and even going up against Luffy. Well, they didn't give Luffy a run for his money, but it was still funny nonetheless. And it was just like a chill episode. Really brings me back to that early One Piece stuff, so I enjoyed it in that aspect. But again, it wasn't the greatest thing of all time or anything of that nature. It was filler, and it was just a fun filler. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.